I will never go to a doctor ever again about my general health. All they want to do is put you on pills. Listen, I was at a place where I'd rather die. I had the best doctors that you could get from the best hospitals. None of them could stop snoring. None of them could get my blood pressure under control. None of them could get my cholesterol, good and bad, leveled out. It's all good now. This guy will change your life. Some of your favorite actors, some of the most powerful, richest people in the world are all now doing this with Gary for one reason and one reason only. Because it works. I'll put this out there too. What the hell?
Here it comes.
Ultimate Human.
Hey guys, welcome to the Ultimate Human Podcast. My name is Gary Brecka, human biologist. We go down the road of everything anti-aging, longevity, biooptimization, and everything in between. I really don't think that I could be more excited today. It's been about a year and a few months in the making to have someone I'm proud to call a personal friend, business icon, president of the UFC, Dana White, whacking back hydrogen water as we speak.
What's
Dana,
up, buddy?
welcome to the Ultimate Human. We've had such an amazing journey together, and everybody's seen your transformation, but I wanted to highlight something that, I'm not even sure that you realize that you have. And so many people that are listening to this podcast are suffering from something called metabolic syndrome. And it's a combination of symptoms, all 5 of which you had. If you have any 2 of these 5, you're at very high risk for cardiovascular disease. Metabolic syndrome is the leading cause of cardiovascular disease. Cardiovascular disease is a leading killer in the world. And the inspiring thing is that you went from having 5 of these 5 markers to having none of these 5 markers. And I don't know if we've ever really had a format where we could really talk about this journey, the importance of this journey. And so I wanted to open by talking about the journey that we've been on together and what a day in the life was, like for Dana White before we met.
Well, my life is exactly the same now as it was, a year and a half ago before I met you, except for the fact that I feel incredible every day. I'm way more productive. When you said, give me 10 weeks, by the time I was in 10, 11, 12 weeks, whatever it was, I started to feel like I was in my 30s again. And no bullshit, I feel like I'm in my 20s now. I swear to God, I do.
Say that.
I quit drinking in January. So now I don't drink. I'm doing the Superhuman protocol. I'm on the whole program that you have me on, and I tell everybody. I try to tell as many people as possible how incredible this is, and that everything can be turned around. You just need guidance, and you need to know how to do it.
Yeah.
And you're the guy.
Just go over some numbers because, the one thing that I really love about you is you're just wide open. We put your labs up on Instagram before. We've been very open about where you started and where you were. But these 5 markers for metabolic disease, they start with triglycerides, blood fat. Your triglycerides fell from 800 to 130. The second marker is insulin. Hyperinsulinemia. Your insulin went from in the 60s to 9. The third marker is abdominal obesity. Dude, you got a 6-pack set of abs, so we don't have to worry about abdominal obesity anymore. And your weight, where does your weight go from?
Yeah, it was 236, and I fluctuate anywhere now between 192 and 196, depending on the day.
That's incredible. And blood pressure, I went back, pulled your records. The day that we met was 160 over 110. And at that time, you were on blood pressure medication.
Blood pressure, cholesterol, and thyroid meds.
Yeah, none of which you're on now. And your last blood pressure reading was 116 over 70. And the reason why I throw those numbers out, and I love that you're so open about it, is because there's people listening to this right now, and this silent killer is lurking in their body, right? Because you don't have to have abdominal obesity. That's only one of the 5. But if you have any 2 of those other 5 markers that I talked about, you have metabolic syndrome, and this killer is lurking in your body. And you should be talking to your doctor about metabolic syndrome, and if your doctor doesn't know what it is, you should fire your doctor. So around that time, did your circle of doctors, what were they telling you? Because, clearly your labs were telling a story.
Yeah, they weren't telling me enough. I would keep doing blood work, and they were telling me everything was fine. when I knew everything wasn't fine. I didn't feel fine. I didn't feel good at all. My legs, I could barely move my legs, and my legs were, I felt pain to the touch anywhere on my legs. My legs were numb and tingly.
You got a lot of massages and things like that.
I used to get massages, get stretched out all the time. Never helped, never worked. It was just very painful. I couldn't sleep. I had sleep apnea so bad that almost every night I would wake up choking and throwing up. Almost every night. I would throw up so much that I was starting to lose my voice a lot. For days I would have no voice. And the list just goes on and on of all the problems. And the doctors could not fix anything. All they would do is keep putting me on more pills or changing my pills that I was on. It was just, they never fixed anything.
Yeah. And what was like your inner circle like? Were people chirping in your ear about it? Like, Dana, we got to go to work on this. Or you're falling asleep in meetings.
I was falling asleep in meetings. I had no energy. My cognitive was horrible. I would, forget everything. It's just I'm not the same person I was a year and a half ago. Not even remotely close to being the same person that I was. And when we talk about this stuff, and this will go up on the internet, and this will pop up, there will be people on here. You're getting scammed. This is bullshit. This is whatever.
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
Listen to me. I would not waste my time trying to scam somebody. I make $0 out of this thing.
Nothing.
I get nothing out of this, okay? Yeah. Other than what I have going on in my life. And the reason that I do this and the reason that I let you talk about my numbers don't lie.
Right.
People can lose weight. I lost weight before I met Gary Brecka.
Right.
Lost weight, put weight on, I did all that shit. What I didn't do was feel amazing. I didn't feel like I'm in my 20s again. My workouts are off the charts. Every day when I wake up, I feel incredible. All of my symptoms are gone. Snoring. I mean, forget about all the other stuff. Let's say you don't have high blood pressure, you don't got cholesterol, you don't got all this other stuff. How about your snoring? How about sleep apnea? Gary made that go away. Go see your doctor and see what your doctor tells you. Your doctor's going to put you on a CPAP machine that you strap to your face and you try to sleep all night while oxygen and water are blowing up your nose. It's ridiculous. You can't sleep. They either want to put you on pills or they want to sell you something else. I'm off all this stuff. I've never felt better in my life, and this is why I do this.
Yeah, no, and I can't appreciate it more. And this is like a message that really needs to get out there. I mean, the number one leading risk factor for cardiovascular disease, the number one killer in the world. Cardiovascular disease kills more people than morbid obesity, diabetes, and cancer combined. And it is preventable. And it is metabolic syndrome is reversible. So I want to talk a little bit about how has your daily routine changed from this year to last year? Like, what's the difference in your daily routine?
The difference is that being healthy isn't easy. It's something that you have to commit to. And I spend my mornings now on my health. Right. I do the superhuman protocol. I take my supplements that I'm supposed to take. I work out every day. I do a whole different workout regimen than I used to, because obviously I'm way better and a lot more fit than I used to be. And I take my health seriously. When I was younger, I was young. I didn't care. I could overcome a lot of stuff, but as you start to get older, it catches up with you.
Yeah, the brain fog, the falling asleep in meetings, the pain in the legs. So what's changed about your workouts? Because you were working out back then. I mean, you were actually kind of a beast. I mean, you were big, you were muscular.
Yep. I'm not out to be big and muscular anymore. I literally do light weights, all for reps, and I superset everything. I mean, my workout is much better.
Trying not to get injured.
Than it was, exactly. Yeah. Don't want to get fat, and I don't want to get hurt. That's it.
So what's a typical workout for you? Is it more weight oriented? Are you doing a lot more cardiovascular training? You doing it here in the office when you come in the mornings? You do it at your house?
I do minimum cardiovascular, and it's all weight training. Yeah, and I'm literally addicted to the cold plunge.
Oh my God, so am I.
I'm addicted to.
We talk about this all the time. We call it our drug of choice, because if people could experience how you feel getting out of a cold plunge, they wouldn't chase any other feeling, right?
I saw this thing. You can tell me whether it's right or wrong. You never know what to believe on the internet. So I ask you, literally, if I'm going to try a new drink or I'm going to do this, I ask Gary, what do you think of this product?
This is true. He texts me all the time.
And Gary will tell me whether the product is good or not. And so, what the fuck was I going to say?
We were talking about your workouts. Like, you do them at your house? You do them at the
I do them everywhere. I have it everywhere. Now when I travel, if they don't have a cold plunge there somewhere around the area, I send one there, and I
send one ahead.
I send them, and I cold plunge. I cold plunge every day, no matter what.
You actually were on a boat in Italy a few weeks ago, and you told me you actually sent a cold plunge to the boat before you got there, so you could cold plunge on the boat. And then when you left, you gave it to the crew.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
True story.
I try to turn. I got a cold plunge now up at my house in Maine, and I have everybody up there cold plunging. Once you get into cold plunging, it is probably that's what it was. It's the most addicting thing ever. I read this thing where they said, people who snort cocaine, right? It releases dopamine and that lasts for like 9 minutes.
Right.
But a cold plunge lasts like 2 hours.
Oh, that's absolutely true. Huberman talks about that on his podcast all the time. I mean, just imagine if there was a pill that could strip fat off your body, elevate your mood, improve your emotional state, force oxygen into the core of your body and cause your liver, lungs, pancreas, kidneys, and brain to receive more oxygen and elevate your mood. You'd be taking that pill every day. And that's 100%. Exactly what cold water immersion does, right?
It's incredible.
And a lot of what, I talk about on this podcast and a lot of guests that I have on this podcast, I bring them on because I want people to understand it's about getting back to the basics. There wasn't a dramatic shift in what you did. We just changed what you ate. There wasn't a dramatic shift in how you supplemented. You just stopped taking medication and start taking the right nutrients. And what would you say surprised you the most about when we first started? I mean, what was it that really kept you motivated to keep going?
Well, first of all, I didn't believe in any of this shit.
You didn't, actually.
At all. I was a believer in modern medicine and doctors that went to, this college or that college or whatever, wherever they got their PhD. And whatever reputation the hospital had. That was the stuff that I believed in. Then, Carrie Kasem hooked you and I up, and you came in, and when you read my blood work and you started telling me what was wrong with me without any prior knowledge of my medical history, and then you told me it wasn't like, hey, you do this for a year and, this will do that. And you said, give me 10 weeks.
Yeah.
I'll change your life in 10 weeks. And my thing was, I can do anything for 10 weeks. So I'll give this guy 10 weeks and see what happens. It didn't even take 10 weeks. Once you start to get in a few weeks of doing what you said to do, I started to feel the difference immediately. And once you get to the 10-week point, you say 10 weeks, I'm assuming, because, there's probably some science to it. But once you get to that 10-week point, you are so in because you didn't think you could feel this good. You start to feel great, and you start to feel younger, and you start to feel more energetic, and the pain in your legs starts to go away. You're not snoring anymore. You're not waking up choking and coughing in the middle of the night. All this stuff started to go away.
Yeah.
So everything that you were saying was you were proving to me. I'm not one of these guys, hey, tell me a bunch of shit and I'll believe you. Show me.
Right.
Show me and I'll believe you.
Yeah.
So
and I remember we had this conversation. I've even seen you repeat it on a podcast that you were like, "Oh my God, I feel amazing."
Yep.
Remember? And I was like, "You don't feel amazing, Daniel.
That's right.
You feel normal."
Right.
That's what normal's supposed to feel like.
Right.
And there's so many people listening to this right now that have forgotten what normal feels like.
What happens is, and like you said, everybody who's watching right now, you get to an age. It could be 45. It could be 50. And you start to go, oh, my God, this must be what 50 feels like. Okay, I'm 50. This is it. You taught me and showed me it's total bullshit.
Yeah.
That is not how you're supposed to feel when you're 40, 45, 50, whatever the number is. How old are you?
I'm 54.
54.
Yeah.
I'm 54, too.
Okay.
I feel amazing.
I feel amazing too. And if you're 54 and you don't feel amazing, then you need to go on this journey because, what's astounding to me is, over the years as I traveled the world and I talked to all these anti-aging and longevity experts and all these scientists and PhDs and researchers, it's amazing to me how much of this research is just coming full circle, getting back to the basics. You eat whole foods, right? You eat meat, fish, chicken, eggs, avocados, coconut oil, olive oil, nuts. I mean, how hard is it to stick to that whole food diet? I mean, you tell me all the time.
It's easy. It's easy, especially you can go out too. You can go out and eat in restaurants and live a normal life. You just got to cut out carbs and sugar.
Yep.
That's it. You cut out carbs and sugar, and you're on your way. And one of the things that I respect the most about you, a lot of things that I respect about you, but the most is when I talk to you about other doctors or he's not one of these guys that, oh, well, that's not right. This, my system is the right way. I presented you with other guys' books, other doctors that you've met.
Yeah,
exactly. Other guys that you've met. And everything else, you work well with other doctors and explaining to them, and he can go toe-to-toe with any doctor. Toe-to-toe with any doctor. And let me just put it to you this way. My two doctors that I was with for years that, it sounds like I'm shitting on now, but I'm not. I love both these guys. They're both with Gary now. Mm-hmm. They're both doing Gary's thing. For those of you that think this is a scam, here's another thing that I can talk about that Gary can't. Since Gary and I have hooked up, he's had a very good clientele, before me. But some of your favorite actors, some of the most powerful, richest people in the world are all now doing this with Gary for one reason and one reason only, because it works and because it's real and because it will change your life. And I say this all the time. If you don't believe me and you think whatever, I don't give a shit. I could care less. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Go see your doctor and good luck to you.
Yeah. So, do you feel like you've been more successful, if for lack of better words, since you've had this change? Like, what are some of the things in your life that have changed? Because you said your daily life is basically the same. You're not making more money.
No, you're right. I was wrong about that. You're right. My life has completely changed since I met you. I'm actually running 4 different companies right now. 4 companies that I've got a day-to-day, decisions to make in. And I could not have done that had I not met you a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So yes,
amazing.
Since I met you, I have gotten busier and in a good way.
Yeah.
And I have made more money. That's a fact.
But because one of the things that makes a comeback is that old school, what I call positive aggression towards like life, positive aggression towards working out. It's like you wake up in the morning and you're like, fuck yeah, another day.
Yep. 100%.
And then there's nothing worse than being sick, fat, and tired and trying to run your business and manage
100%.
your family and be a good father to your kids and then take care of your employees and then be a good partner to your partners and manage the, investors' money and then be in the public eye and have all of these burdens on your back when you just have this constant state of fatigue and exhaustion.
You are absolutely right. And that's exactly where I was. I am as productive now or more than when I was 30.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's a fact.
That is awesome. So you've got what, UFC, you've got Slap, and what other things do you have going on?
I got UFC, I got Power Slap, I got
Power
Howlerhead.
Slap's killing it.
And I have a company called Throw One that I dove in and sort of took the reins for a while there too.
And what's the focus of that?
It is, we own Ridiculousness on MTV.
Oh yeah, you told me.
We own
about
Nitrous Circus. We own SLS Skate League and Travis Pastrana's Nitrocross. So about 4 or 5 months ago, I dove in and sort of started doing some rearranging over there and sort of took the bull by the horns and got the company into a good place. I got Slap in a really
Slap's
good
come out
place
of
right
virtual
now.
obscurity to like the biggest thing, and I can't scroll through TikTok now without seeing it's like it's taken over Instagram, it's taken over TikTok. I mean, I think it's just so perfect for social media.
It's been an incredible 7-month run since the new year. It's been unbelievable.
So, what in terms of your future plans now that you're on this health journey? What's one thing that you want to change or one goal that you have for yourself over the next year? Because you've gotten yourself to this plateau where you feel amazing.
Yeah, I think that my main goal as far as my health goes, I'm good with everything going on right now. My workouts, superhuman, all the stuff that I'm doing. It's more now about working with you and Stephanie on dialing my numbers in and just trying to get my blood work as perfect as it can be, because
it's such a fun game now.
Well, it's the thing that I've noticed is the better my blood work gets, the better I feel.
Yeah.
So my long-term goal for my health is to get my blood as dialed in as I can possibly get it, you know? And you know, I'll get Steph in every week giving me my stuff that I got to do, and she'll tell me, you got to tweak some of this, you got to tweak some of that. I have some questions. I'll hit you up on some big stuff, and that's it, man. I'm obsessed with how incredible I feel.
You know, what I think is amazing is, you know, I talk to a lot of young entrepreneurs. It's different when you're in your 50s, but when you're in your 20s, your early 30s, and you're hard charging, you're burning the candle at both ends. I think social media and just society in general, you know, rewards this sort of just unending commitment to hard work, right? And the one thing that always shocks me is that young entrepreneurs, a lot of times when I talk to them, is they have so much data on their companies, right? They know their income statement, their balance sheet, their P&L. They don't have the slightest idea what's going on in their body.
No, that's a good point. But
right?
you know why?
And
because when you're young, you don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You don't have to care, because you know what? You're young and your body bounces back, and you can handle all that. But as you start to get older and you're running as hard as you were back then, it's impossible.
Yeah.
If you are not paying attention to the numbers internally, you can't do it. It's impossible.
Yeah, but you know, it almost becomes like a fun game, because just like, you know, when you're growing a company, you're like, I'm growing the top line, I'm growing the bottom line. How much are we spending on marketing? What's our return on investment on this marketing? You get the same thing when you start to actually get into your own body. You're like, where are my sugars? Where's my insulin?
So
you know, how's my liver doing? How's my kidneys doing? How's my pancreas producing? And it sounds so silly to somebody who hasn't started that journey. And what I feel like my role is to take complicated information, distill it in a way that people can understand, so that it causes them to make a transformation. Because it's one thing just to educate the masses. It's one thing to inspire the masses, if you will, but you got to get people to make a change. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about you, is that you've been really open and honest about this change, and you're like, fuck it, put my blood work up on Instagram, let the scammers tell me I got scammed, but I got scammed out of diabetes, I got scammed out of high blood pressure, and I got scammed out of a CPAP machine, and I'm happy that I got scammed out of those things. And there's people listening right now that are about to take that first step.
Since I met you, first of all, you've changed many people's lives. Since I met you, the impact that you've had on my health and my life, number one. Number two, the impact that you've had on friends of mine that I've referred to you.
Yeah.
And family members.
Yeah.
Lives you've changed. It's just, it's unbelievable. And anybody who's watching this right now, and you were like me, it's not that you didn't want to be in shape, but and be healthy. You don't know how to. And doctors, I will never go to a doctor ever again about my general health. They have no clue what they're talking about, and all they want to do is put you on pills. And I'll put this out there too. I'm paying for it, so what the hell?
Here it comes.
My mother-in-law, I was on vacation with my wife over Memorial Day. My wife is talking to her mother on speakerphone. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. And I said, they hung up. I said, your mother sounds drunk. Your mother drunk at 10 o'clock in the morning? She goes, no, she's having all kinds of health problems. They can't get her blood pressure dialed in and all this stuff. She's 80 years old, okay? I call Gary immediately. This dude jumps on a plane Memorial Day weekend, flies to Las Vegas, sees my mother-in-law, and now since Memorial Day to today, however long that is, him and Stephanie have been working with my mother-in-law, and she is not the same person she was however many months ago that was. They've completely got everything that was wrong with her under control already, which the doctors could not do. They kept switching her medicine every 3 weeks. They had her on a handful of pills.
14 prescriptions.
She was on 14 different prescriptions.
14.
She just turned 80 2 weekends ago, okay? So she was 79 going into her 80th birthday. She was taking 14 prescription pills, speaking like she was drunk. Her granddaughter was telling me that she's like was in a fog all day, like staring at the wall and stuff like that. So Gary, Steph come in, they work with her. She just had her 80th birthday. She was there till midnight and she was dancing all night. She's not even the same person. And You literally saved her life.
Yeah, that was chicken soup for the soul. I mean, some of the things that they thought she had, this early onset dementia, congestive heart failure, peripheral neuropathy. You know, one of the interesting things is if you just look at where all these things meet, you know, they meet at blood flow and oxygen. You know, reduced blood flow is going to cause you to have tingling and numbness in your feet. It's going to actually cause your short-term recall to kind of seem like it's fading. If you've got really restricted blood flow, it's going to put a lot of pressure on your heart. But as we just naturally restored that blood flow, and the clinical team came in and used natural things like resveratrol and hydrogen water, and to her credit, she stuck to a protocol.
She did.
We got all the processed food and all the refined carbohydrates out of her diet.
And she lost a bunch of weight too.
And she lost a bunch of weight, and she told me she's going to start dating again. I was like, I don't know if Dana knows that. But she's such a sweetheart. She's such a gem. And the other day I was over her house and she actually got teary-eyed and, you know, was just so thankful because she feels amazing again. And I said the same thing to her. You know, you just feel
and
normal.
100%. And my point in telling this story is you got me at 50 and you got her at 80.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah.
Once you come in and start doing the right things, and she was so terrified that you were going to put her on the keto diet and all this other stuff. Now she's regimented. I mean, she gets up and she exercises every day. She does the superhuman every day. She didn't want to go on a trip that we went to Maine because she had to do the baths that you had her doing.
Yeah.
So it's just a testament, no matter how old you are, once you start feeling amazing, you become like, holy shit.
Oh, addicted.
This is how I want to feel every day.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to fuck this up.
Yeah. It's just like I want to get back to that state of normalcy where I feel amazing all the time because most people only get there like a heart monitor, right? Beep. And I feel excited or elated or joyful or aroused. And then their physiology just drags them back down into the state where they most comfortably exist. And I think a lot of people don't realize that if you don't take care of your physiology, if you don't know your numbers, where is your blood sugar? Where is your insulin? Where are your blood fat numbers, triglycerides, cholesterol? You know, what is going on? Is my body deficient in something that it needs to do its job? Because the human body is such a phenomenal machine. If you just give it the raw material it needs to do its job, it thrives.
How does that not make sense? Instead of taking pills and medicine, you put the raw materials back in that your body needs, which are supplements and things that you're deficient on, and the body does the work. How does that not make sense to anybody?
So, you know, a lot of times when we do these, we get accused of not giving details. So I want to just be, you know, specific about Dana's journey. You know, he went on a keto reset diet to get his triglycerides down, which also helped with insulin and it helped with his blood sugar. We used common peptides to actually help with hormone balance and with nutrient deficiencies. We really started having the clinical team made the decision to start titrating off of blood pressure medications. As your vascular system began to relax, you had something that is so common, and I'm not saying this is the cause of all cardiovascular disease, but you had something called hyperhomocystinemia, high levels of homocysteine in the blood. And I remember telling you, man, I pulled 10 years of medical records on you. And when we were looking through these records, you always had a normal EKG, a normal EEG, normal heart and lung sounds. I'm like, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with your heart. You're on this heart medication. And then we found this amino acid in the blood, homocysteine. And, you know, the clinical team got you on this amino acid to bring it down. And as that level of inflammation fell and the vascular system relaxed, and you can see it in your veins right now, and if you had a pair of shorts on, you'd see how vascular your calves are. As your vascular system relaxed, your pressure just returned to normal. I remember how excited I was when Stephanie texted me your blood pressure, and I was like, wow. I actually took a picture of it, texted it right back to you. Yeah. And I was like, man, how far we've come, you know, from the 170s over 110 to 116 over 70, you know, non-medicated. And if anyone listening gets anything from this podcast, I want them to do two things. Number one, I want them to get their blood checked by their doctor. You don't have to come to me. You don't have to come to 10X Health. Go to your physician, get a blood panel, ask your doctor about metabolic syndrome. Your doctor should know what this is and they should know how to treat it. And start gamifying your life. Like start getting into the same game that you are, right? Get the data like you have on your company and then use that data to make a change in your life. So, you know, and we're running up on some time here. So, you know, what advice would you have for people in their 50s? We're both in our 50s. And rarely do I meet somebody that feels as good as I do. Like, you know, I have the energy of 10 men. I wake up every morning and I just go, fuck yeah, another day. So to feel like that, what advice would you give somebody in their 50s that might have been in the same position that you were?
Yeah, I agree with you. And the truth of the matter is, the people that are watching this right now, they definitely have some of these problems that I had, or all of these problems that I had. And you start to get to a place where there's like no hope. Wait a minute, you're saying that for the rest of my life, I have to put this CPAP machine on so that I can sleep at night? That's the answer to this?
Dude, I remember how frustrated you were with that thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't, listen, I was at a place where I'd rather die than put that thing on and try to sleep with that thing. I'd sleep for 35 minutes and then end up ripping it off in the middle of the night. I'm like, this is it? Then I'm out. I don't even want to deal with this. And I know some people also who have learned to adjust to it. You don't have to. You know what I mean? Like I said, I get nothing out of this. I am doing this as almost like a pay it forward type thing. You know, for so many years. Plus, I'm one of those guys that probably most of the guys that would see this is, you're stubborn. And you're like, I'm fine. I'll this, that, and I'll power through it and all this other shit. Nah, no, you won't. No, you won't.
Yeah.
And what's going to end up happening is the medicines are just going to start to stack up. And before you know it, you're going to be on 14 pills with 10 different side effects from each one of them. And you just feel like complete shit. And you're not living, you know, the healthy, amazing life that you can. I'm not kidding you. Like he said, I jump out of bed every day ready to kick today's ass. And I feel great. And I love it. And this guy is the real deal. I would recommend him to anybody. I had him literally save my mother-in-law's life, a couple of my friends, and many other people that you know that he's working with and helping right now. I'm coming up here. Everybody asks me, what do you do? I don't understand. What is it? And he went through some of it today. We're putting together a video that I'm going to do with the UFC team on what I do every day when I wake up and how I start my mornings with Superhuman, the workout, my eating, all that stuff. We're going to do a video that will go up soon here on UFC.com. But this is all the stuff that I learned from Gary. And it's real. It's legit. I don't care how old you are. You can be 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. This guy will change your life.
Man, thank you. So I end every podcast the same way by asking the same question. You know, what does it mean to you to be an ultimate human?
Yeah, it's exciting. I don't know if I've ever been happier. Like you said, I jump up every day ready to kick today's ass, and I love what I do. I love doing it, and it's unexplainable. If you want me to ask you what it feels like to be superhuman, I can't put it into words. It's such a feeling that becomes so good and so addicting that it just makes everything in your life better.
Yeah,
you know,
and it also makes turning down the things that are going to change the direction of that easy.
Well,
and that's one of the things I want people to know.
That's a good point. Yes,
because it's
that's
like,
a great point.
I got to give up alcohol. I got to give up sweets.
Wait a minute, I got to give up pasta? Oh my God. I got to give up bread. I got to give up ice cream. I got to give up nobody. I don't care who you are. Nobody liked pasta, ice cream, and sweets more than me, man. I'm telling you right now. I literally would order every dessert that they had at the restaurant. I didn't eat them all. I'd taste them all. Maybe I'd eat one or two. But all that stuff. There's this quote by Kate Moss where she says, nothing tastes better than being skinny, okay? I modified her quote, nothing tastes better than feeling amazing. And it was so easy once I got into this to give all that stuff up that I would never go back. Like when I look, like my chef still cooks food at the house for the rest of the family.
Right.
I'm eating different than most of my family, my kids and stuff like that. I'll go in and I'll look at stuff that I loved and I look at it and I go, damn, that looks good. But I know what it's going to do to me.
Amen.
And I know how that's going to make me feel. And it doesn't taste that good that I would want to feel that way again.
Wow. That's really powerful. Well, brother, I can't thank you enough, man. I know this is going to send shockwaves, around the world. I hope that it inspires people to make a change, to go to their doctor, to get their numbers, to start to get some data on their body, because without data, you can't make a change. If you're out there and you're just supplementing for the sake of supplementing, and you get information, you get a genetic test done, you get blood work done, and by no means do you have to do that through me. There are plenty of good physicians out there. You find out what metabolic syndrome is, and you start making a change, you're going to be in the same boat as Dana White, because he had all the access in the world and he hadn't made the change, and now he's got the data, and you heard it for yourself.
I had the best doctors that you could get from the best hospitals that you could go to, and none of them could answer my questions. None of them could stop snoring. None of them could get my blood pressure under control. None of them could get my cholesterol, good and bad, leveled out. It's all good now. So, you don't have to go through him. Not telling you to do anything. Do whatever the hell you want. This guy, if he told me to squirt hot sauce in my eyes, I'd do it. Everything this guy has told me to do has completely changed my life, and I couldn't feel better.
Thank you, Dana, for coming on. This is the Ultimate Human Podcast, and as always, that's just science.